as we approach a multitude of WWE events, but of course, Clash at the Castle is approaching next month, early September. I'm delighted to be joined by the phenomenal man himself, AJ Styles. How are you, AJ?
I'm good.
I'm glad to hear it, my friend, because you are a busy man yourself in Saudi Arabia right now. Of course, you'll be coming back for Crown Jewel later this year, man. How are your experiences been in Saudi Arabia thus far? Because again, I mean, since the company has been going there, I guess you wouldn't have gone to wrestle there prior to WWE, right? It's like these are all the new experiences you get with wrestling in WWE.
No, it's. I mean, every time I come here, it's better and better. It was surprising to me that there were fans on the plane as I was coming over, and I just thought, wow. I mean, that's pretty cool that they're starting to notice, us, are just around. Before they only saw us on TV, but now we're here in their country. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And again, like for me, those events have got better and better as well. Like where they feel like big pay-per-view show, premium live events, however they want to be phrased. That's how they feel now as part of the calendar, rather than exhibitionary, as it were. But speaking of big events, you had Edge this year at WrestleMania, man. That's a feud we want to talk about a little bit. Let's get into that, because you had told me months and months back that Edge was one of the guys you would like to face on the big stage. I was there. I was in this stadium as it happened. Do you think, because again, you got Undertaker, but that wasn't maybe exactly what you wanted, because he wasn't, in the ring in front of thousands and thousands. With Edge, of course, we had the Damian Priest reveal. There's more story put into that. Was it everything that you wanted, the WrestleMania match?
I thought it was good. We had a great match, and I would hope that maybe we'll get the opportunity to do it again. But I was very happy with it, and I'm sure he was too. I didn't hurt anything this time when I got speared, so I was a happy camper.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right, with WrestleMania. I know you've said previously, I mean, there's going to be people that are begging to work with you soon, AJ, but is that short list of people that you want to work at WrestleMania? Is there still names on that list you want to check off?
Well, there's always going to be names. You never know who's coming up and who's going to do what. So I'm always looking forward to the next match, whether it's at WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or wherever it may be. I'm always looking forward to them. I have fun when I'm in the ring.
And that's the thing, because you had Undertaker, you wanted Triple H, and we all know why that couldn't come to pass in the end. And then you did manage to get Edge. I guess from that group of guys, or era, I should say, it is getting slimmer. But I don't know, is there anyone that you would love to have on that stage?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Because I've had the opportunity to be in the rings with some of the guys that, like a Rey Mysterio. I've had that opportunity, but I don't know. And it may be revisiting an old, rivalry, something like that. But I mean, there are several guys that I think we had fun having another match.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing you and Cena on the biggest stage. That was a pretty good rivalry, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, no question.
Speaking of Triple H, he's back, man. He's back in the hot seat. He's running creative now in WWE, as we've been told. Obviously, there's a multitude of changes we could get into, but let's drill it down on that one. Obviously, Triple H is a guy that you respect and admired, and I think it's fair to say he played a big role in bringing you to the company, right? At once upon a time. What's it like to not only have him again and him be healthy, which of course is number one, but two, being able to work closely with him again?
Well, it's only been what, 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I haven't really had that opportunity to really, sit down with him and chat it up with him, because at this point, you're just so busy in that position, and it's hard to find time. It's different for sure, because it's not Vince, and I had a great relationship with Vince. It's not bad or anything. I'm very optimistic about how everything is going. It's just different. I never thought there'd be a time where I wouldn't work for Vince. And so I'm just getting used to it, just like everyone else. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's probably a great thing. It's just different.
Yeah. So when, Vince retires, and is there like I imagine like Triple H or Stephanie, because Stephanie and Nick Khan are the CEOs now. Is there like a transition phase where they have a chat with with all of their stars? Like, or has it kind of just been, okay, on to the next one and they keep it rolling?
No, we had a chat and everything was understood, who was in charge and whatnot. And everybody is well respected in that position. So I don't think anybody's worried. In fact, I think, there's probably a lot of people exciting, and there's been a lot of exciting things that have happened these past weeks. So I think it's a great thing. It just, again, when you report to someone and that one person that you had to get your answers from, the one person that mattered is not there anymore, it's different. And you're not sure how to approach some stuff because you don't want to I don't want to overwhelm Triple H asking him simple little questions that I could take care of myself. I didn't try to do the same, with Vince. I didn't try to overwhelm him with simple little things. But if I needed a definite answer, I knew who to go to. And now it's just finding time to be able to ask Triple H those same kind of questions. Nothing major, hopefully, but just specifics of what needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes the world of sense, to be fair. One thing that I did want to ask you, we've seen, speaking of Triple H, actually, Stephanie said that their daughter is training to become a wrestler. Okay, The Rock's daughter.
That. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you seen her daughter? She looks like Stephanie. It's like she
really.
I haven't seen. I don't feel like I've seen her in a couple of years, but I remember at one Hall of Fame, I just going, did she clone herself? Like, wow. Like yeah. So that's interesting. I don't know how old her daughter is.
So Stephanie said that to me at Survivor Series, obviously last November, and I think she was 16 then.
Okay, so like 17. Okay,
probably around that ballpark. But I was going to say to you, I mean, listen, you've got a legendary name in the business. I believe you've got 4 children, if I'm not mistaken.
I do.
And your eldest plays football.
He plays football and baseball.
Has he got the wrestling bug, AJ? This is the question.
Nope, he's got the baseball bug. He's gonna, hopefully he goes to a D1 college and does well and pursues his baseball career if he wants to. But as of right now, there's no mention of wrestling that's come out of his mouth. The only one that really mentions it, which scares me the most, is my 7-year-old daughter. So, yeah, there's been many a times where I'll come home from work and she's watching wrestling. I go, please turn that off. I don't want to watch wrestling. I just got home from it. Can we please not watch that? So she'll probably be the one.
Mate, I mean, listen, do you prefer it that way though, that your boys have got their other interests? And would you welcome them? If they said, "Dad, I really want you to train me," or anything like that. Any of your kids, how would you receive that?
I would, it would be one of those things where let's pursue something, life after wrestling, meaning if wrestling doesn't work out. So let's go and see if we can, get a trade or a degree in something. That way we have something to fall back on. And then I'd be more than happy to help them out. I just at least want them to try to get further their education. But listen, I understand sometimes school just doesn't work out. I was one of those guys. I went to college. Why am I here? I didn't like school the first time. So I get it. But in this day and age, especially WWE, it's so professional now. I wouldn't mind it if any of my children decided to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah. Another question I get all the time when when I'm talking about, I've got AJ Styles coming up. Everyone wants to know about the theme song, AJ. Everyone loves that theme song that you have now. It's become like a hallmark. Can you talk us through when it was first shown to you, and did you go, "Yep, that's the one," or how did it all work out?
Well, I got to admit, it wasn't made for me. It was made from the way I understand it. James Storm, when he was at NXT, and maybe he came out to it once. I'm not sure if he came out but it was made for him. And then somehow I kind of explained what I'd like to hear, and it was that song that they presented, and I go, "Yep, that's the one. That's the one I'm coming up to. It's cool." So it suited. They didn't know it, but they made it for me.
But they said, "You know what? That'll work." The other thing I wanted to say, I think one of the last times we spoke, you couldn't do your Twitch channel. Now Styles Clash remains, right? How important was that for you to be able to get back into doing what you love like that?
Well, I enjoyed it, but then I got out of it, and now I don't know that I'll have time to get back into it, just based on kids playing sports and whatnot. It's I don't know that and plus I'm splitting it now, which as it should be. I wouldn't have the followers and whatnot if it hadn't been for WWE. So I understand that. I think that's a good way of compromising is splitting that money with them. So I at least not right now, but I have no plans to get back on Twitch anytime soon.
Well, the option's there though. That's
It
at
is
least
there. It is there.
there you go. I think you said to me once upon a time as well that you wanted to maybe scout after your WWE career, that you would like to you see your post in ring career looking like that. Now that I guess Vince is gone, is that another conversation? Is that something that was understood with Vince, and then maybe you need to relay that to Stephanie? Is that still your plan?
It was just a thought. It was never,
Right.
hey, you're going to get the opportunity when you retire to go scout. No one ever said that. That's just my idea. It wasn't. I didn't discuss it with Vince or anybody. It was just my idea that hopefully I feel like sometimes I just got an eye for talent, and I go, they've got it. They've got that hunger in their eye, just like I did. Like you can see it. Um, so I would hope that I'd get that opportunity. I mean, maybe I will, maybe I won't. If not, it's not the end of the day. But hopefully, I'll find some kind of work in WWE when I retire.
I mean, speaking of having an eye for talent, like when that Omos relationship happened, was that did they kind of present him to you, or did you say, oh, I'd quite like to work with him?
They presented it to me, and I said, "Let's go. Let's do this. Let's see." And, it was one of those things where you're like, "Oh, great! I'm in a tag match, so I don't have to take all the bumps and falls and whatnot." But that's just not
Mm.
true when you're tagging with Omos. You're taking all of them. So that took a couple of years off my career, I think, but it was well worth it. This guy's just if you've never saw him before, he's unbelievable. When we would go out to eat, people would have no idea who he is. They just know what they saw, like
Mm.
this giant, and they needed to take a picture with him. I'd just be standing in the corner where they're taking a picture with Omos. That's really cool. That's why we need him as part of the WWE because he is a spectacle. He is a large human being, and he's hungry. He's learning as much as he could, as he can, and he's getting better. So I look forward to see how much he can do in the next couple of years.
Did you think that was going to go to WrestleMania? I mean, obviously it worked out because you worked with Edge, but did you think maybe the breakup was going to take longer, or go a bit a different way, or did it go exactly as planned?
I think it went pretty much as planned. I mean, you can help him with the tag, but at some point you have to be in the ring, and it's got to be you, and you got to be able to learn on your own. And I think that was important for him to do so, and it still is to this day because you never stop learning. So I think it went well. I think we spent just enough time together to get his feet wet, and then he can get in the ring and do a lot of good things himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I do want to talk about, because the Clash of the Castle is coming up next month. What would AJ Styles like to do in front of 70,000 UK fans in Cardiff?
I would love to put on a show. I don't know that I have a story or anything, and it's a shame, but there are plenty of other of our performers that have great stories. So I'm not saddened by the fact that I won't be there because I know you guys are going to have such a great night with so many great matches.
Well, you've had great nights in the UK, AJ. Lest we
Yeah.
forget winning the WWE title a few years back off Jinder Man. Like that must hold a dear place in your heart, because the reaction that night was insane.
Well, it was the first time the WWE Championship had ever switched hands overseas. So that's a big deal to me. That was awesome. It was such a great night, man. I've been wrestling in the UK for a long time, and so I felt like they were like, "Hey, he's one of us. He's one of our guys.
Yeah.
He was on the indie scene. He was wrestling here, so they got to see me come up all the way up to the WWE, and I think that's why I had so much support that night because a lot of people remember.
You say as well, working in indies, but I mean, the UK is a bit of a hotbed for TNA as well.
Yeah, you're right. It really was. We did do well in TNA. That's very true.
How cool was that being able to go back and do a video message for TNA a month or so ago? Like everyone was so, you know how it goes on wrestling Twitter. Everyone's like, oh my God, WWE guy doing a message. But it was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad I got the opportunity. I still want, Impact Wrestling. I want them to do well. I want AEW to do well. Competition's a good thing. It makes everybody better. There's nothing wrong with that. We want to see people succeed. And to tell you the truth, I have friends in every company. I would like to see them do well. So they have some my support, just like anybody else. I want to see them do well. I don't want anyone to lose their job. So, and you never know who might show up in WWE.
You mentioned AEW as well. I know Christopher Daniels, very close friend of yours, of course, has a job over there, and many others. You've signed new WWE deals. It's reported anyway during the since AEW has existed. Was there ever much thought for you to go? Because it's an attractive proposition, I guess, to wrestle with your friends and be with them every week. You always though have seemed like you had a singular mind for WWE. Is that kind of how it was?
Well, I mean, it really wasn't, I didn't really sign a new deal. It was basically, I had a player option and I just used that option. So I had no plans really. Looking back, I want to be with WWE, and as much as I'd like to be with my friends, this is what I know. This is what I know is expected of me. I understand what they need here in WWE, and I want to be a part of it.
And that's cool as well, like knowing what's needed of you in the position you're in now. But like, is there an AJ Styles that still wants to have that big run on top, that, be the champion? And because you've given a lot, I feel, the past couple of years working with different people, and you've helped Omos and, a lot of these different things. But I feel like there's a big chunk of the fan base, myself included, that would like to see AJ on top once again.
Well, I would like to be on top again, but there's so many guys that we need to push. We need to make other superstars. And if the opportunity presents itself, of course, I'd like to be champion again. But it's hard to say what's next for AJ Styles. I'm just happy to be a part of WWE, man. I'm having a good time. I get to work with some great people.
Absolutely. Speaking going back to that WWE title win as well, because obviously that led to you working with Brock, right, at Survivor Series. Would love just a little bit of a window of insight into that, because I feel like Brock has got this kind of like mythical fans are kind of like, oh my God, like Brock Lesnar, he's got this really intense like persona. But then of course the last few months we've seen a much lighter Brock who's having a lot of fun in wrestling, and people have kind of learned, or maybe he's not this mercenary, he's actually a guy who does love wrestling, he's just an incredibly good businessman. Like, what was your experiences with Brock, like in the ring but putting the match together as well?
It was great. We kind of discussed how we wanted the beginning to go, and then I threw in my 2 cents. He told me not to jump when he gives me a German, or he throw me out of the ring. I said okay. But yeah, I mean, I think Brock showed me a lot of respect in the match that we had, and telling the story. It was great. I thought it was one of the better matches that I've had, and I was very happy with it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I'd like to see more of it, but beggars can't be choosers and all of that good stuff. A couple of love things I want to touch on just before we finish up here, and I thank you very much for your time, AJ, as usual here on Talk Wrestling. You've been working with The Miz recently, right? Miz and his tiny stuff, as TV would have us told. How has that been, man? Because again, like, you've been in the company a few years now, but I guess it's always cool to try and tell new stories and work with a variety of people. And Miz is one of those guys that I think a lot of us have come to realize has been underappreciated or perhaps underrated for a while.
Not in my opinion, as far as who I think The Miz is. I think he's the best heel in the business. He's unbelievable. He's got a punchable face. Like, there's just something about him that people want to see him get beat up, and being in the ring with him. He's so good at what he does. I can't say enough good things about him. Yeah, he understands what needs to be done to make sure the baby face looks like the baby face, and the heel is the heel. He gets it better than anybody. I enjoy working with the Miz, and so anytime I get that opportunity, I jump at it.
Is there any, like, the very final one? Are there any other guys in and around the roster you maybe haven't had a story with yet or worked with that you'd like to see?
Well, it looks like we got some people coming in, so we'll see what happens. There was a guy with a hood that popped his head out, so on Monday Night Raw. So it's interesting to see what happens.
So I've paid $250,000 fucking to have a marketing firm make original content, and you guys are just watching the old shit. And I'm waiting for the, haha, got you guys. Nope. Just gets up and leaves.